Short and sweet. Not much to say. It was that good, wasn't it?
Yeah, mate. Wow.
So,
Back with a bang.
what are we here for?
Back with a bang with Star Wars. We waited so many years. We're back in the cinema.
Yes.
Mandalorian and Grogu.
Mandalorian and Grogu has arrived. Opening thoughts? Quick thoughts?
Yeah, that was not good. That was not good.
It was really bad.
That's the one. Really bad. Terrible film.
I don't even know where to start. I mean, I want to start by obviously saying the fact that there's a lot of people out there that just like have hated everything Star Wars since Disney bought it because they have an agenda and they want to.
Mm-hmm.
We're not those people
No.
in any way, but I feel like we both are on the same page. We just want something that is competent. We want something that is well written, something that is interesting, something that has interesting ideas, something that has interesting characters, action that has energy and scale and things like that, and just something that has thought put into it.
Which this film had
It's the
none
opposite
of
that.
Literally none of that.
And again, it has none of that, but also I'd go a step further and say it's not a film.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually not a film. Like, in terms of its like story structure, it isn't a film.
Nothing happens. Nothing happened. It is everything that everyone was saying, because we saw some of the reviews and people saying early on. It's like it literally is like a stretched out episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, and it really is.
And it really, really is. Like we said, the first 10, 15 minutes where we're on the Imperial Trail and that stuff, we're like, oh, okay, this is exciting. This is what I kind of hope for. This is what I want this film to be. Where it's like, if it's going to exist, and it's between 6 and 7. We said it in our Star Wars rankings. If they made certain things to fit in that gap between 6 and 7, you don't have to do the whole thing about it, but just touch upon it or reference stuff. You don't have to bring in all these characters like Luke Skywalker and that. But when you're following the Imperial Trail, it was really interesting. And then as soon as it started going on to like all these side quest things and just went down this trail, like none of the characters changed at all throughout that film.
Well, that's why I say it's not a film. It's not a story.
Yeah.
There's no story. It's just a sequence of. It's just a constant stream of action sequences. It's a constant. It felt like they didn't go more than 5-10 minutes without Mando coming into a room and beating up 10 people. Yeah. And it gets so boring. Yeah. At least in the opening of the film, it was stormtroopers and it was kind of relevant. And after that, he's just going into rooms and beating up different CGI monsters. And I'm just watching it and I'm like, who on earth thought this was a good idea? Like, who sat there and thought, yeah, this is good enough?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, this isn't at a
to
point
put people back in the cinema with Star Wars.
Yeah, and this isn't at the point where it's like I'm thinking in terms of, it depends on what you like and what you don't like. And I feel about this film how I think a lot of other people feel about The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is the biggest pile of dog shit. Like, I think The Rise of Skywalker
It's the biggest piece of dog.
Yeah, it is.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
I think The Rise of Skywalker is a bad film.
Yeah.
But I am entertained throughout the entirety when I'm watching it.
And it's made competently well, and it does tell a story.
And it isn't just CGI monsters, and it isn't, and it has whatever those decisions are. It does have.
It has consequence.
Character development in some way.
Yeah.
Not good character development necessarily, but it tries to do things with its characters. It just goes generally in the wrong way. This film, or this bloated TV episode, doesn't do anything with its characters. Doesn't even try to have character arcs for either Mando or Grogu. The only interesting thing, the only positive thing I can say about this film, in the thing that's kind of piqued my interest, was the Hutt, Rot of the Hutt.
Yeah.
Like, when we first meet him, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't expect them to go that way with it. And his kind of backstory is interesting. I still found it so weird that he's just kind of talking in a normal voice, and I don't like the CGI Hutts anyway. I never have, but it's weird that he just kind of talks normally. It's quite unsettling. It doesn't work. I never kind of got over that.
I do agree with that to a point where I'm like, I just think it could have worked for me, but I just don't think the voice was right for me. And on the topic of voices, I don't think like there was any performances there. Like, I don't feel like anyone was really like standing out. It's like everyone just seemed like they're a bit bored, and that's it. Really gave off that vibe when you're watching it. It was just like it was just a bit boring. Like there'll be the odd time you'd be like, oh, it's kind of fun, but it was just like it's a film with no consequence. Like nothing happens. There's no jeopardy.
No impact.
It's just it literally is a filler episode from The Mandalorian, which is why I think going into this film, many people were excited for it because of Mandalorian season 3. Seasons 1 and 2 it really built up, and we're thinking, could this be what, like, you know, again, filling that gap like we said, they did with the prequels, now doing it with the sequels, filling in that gap and in a really interesting way, and it teased so many interesting things, and then season 3 just fell off a cliff with these filler episodes, and it never goes anywhere. And you're just like, it feels like there's no consequence to anything that you're watching. It just is pointless. And now it's that stretched out and way worse. I feel like it was really poor. It was really disappointing.
The Mandalorian died or fell off a cliff as soon as they had, obviously finished season 2, and Grogu is separated from Mando and he goes with Luke.
Yeah.
And then they have them return in the Book of Boba Fett, which nobody cared about, in one episode randomly. So if you don't watch that and you just watch season 2 and then season 3, you end season 2 with that cliffhanger and you start season 3 with it already resolved.
Yeah.
That is terrible storytelling. That's not like a preference issue. That's terrible storytelling.
It's
that's
forcing
awful.
people to watch other things.
You can't, it's just, that's not what Star Wars is. You can't start making people have to watch every tiny little thing otherwise, because then it just becomes Marvel.
Yeah.
And we know it is anyway, because they've got no idea what to do with it.
But they just force it. Yeah, they force it. Yeah.
Mando season 3, nobody cared. If you'd have made a film after Mando season 2, then people would have cared. That would have been the hook for the film.
Yeah.
When he goes off with Luke, that would have been the hook for the film. But like you say, ever since it's teased in season 1 of Mando that there's Imperial remnants, it's teased. It never develops enough. And we're still here all these years later, 7 years later nearly, and it still hasn't developed enough.
And we're seeing characters as well. Like, again, there's all this overlapping, and I wouldn't mind it if it was at least, it felt like we were progressing towards a destination. We've had Ahsoka come about. She was in the Mandalorian, then Thrawn's in it now. Moff Gideon's in the Ahsoka show. Like, all these things are kind of overlapping. I'm like, I would be so on board if we were building for this idea of like, this is how it trickles down into Palpatine return, and we're trying to build up the story of the sequels more, because that's people don't. It's trying to improve people's opinion on it. And I think they could have done that. And I think there's parts you're like, oh, this could be really exciting for what that could link to there. And I just think so far, again, season 3 was like, they just took a step back from that stuff. And now this film is like the biggest step back from that. After the Ahsoka show ends with Thrawn like back, it's like, it just feels like it exists completely by itself. And I don't really know why. Like, why does it need to exist? In the ranking, I said, well, I didn't like Solo, because I was like, what is the point of it? At least it tries to give context and more of a backstory for a character everyone loves. It doesn't need to exist, but at least it has him at a start and him at an end.
It has functioning characters in the film.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Star Wars film that just doesn't have characters.
Yeah, it's so lifeless.
It doesn't have characters.
Yeah.
It's got nothing going for it.
Yeah.
It suffers again
Really
from this new wave of volume. Everything shot in the volume, and everything. There's so much CGI in this film, and I give the prequels flack for CGI. At least with the prequels, they were trying to, it was during that kind of digital revolution almost.
Yeah.
They were trying to do things that were new and groundbreaking. Here, they're just CGIing every monster they can find to fit them in a fight with Mando. There's no stakes. Like you said, there's no stakes in the entirety of the film, because, again, 7 years on from hearing about Imperial remnants, we're still at the point where he's just kidnapping 1 or 2 Imperial remnants.
Nothing's changed.
No one cares.
And it doesn't build towards anything. He's just taking this guy and he just disappears, and that's the end of that.
And one thing I want to pick up on as well is when we saw those initial reactions of people seeing the film when they saw it early, and you could tell that there were these people that didn't want to say something too bad about the film, but they were very much trying to look for something to give the film, and you could see how little they cared about it, and all they would kind of say was, it's fun.
It's fun.
It's not even fun.
Yeah, it's fun for 15 minutes.
It's fun for 15 minutes. That opening was good. The introduction was good. Oh, Jon Snow's dead. Jon Snow's died of boredom.
That was us in the cinema.
But that first 15 minutes in the introductions are solid, and I enjoyed that. But then the rest of the film, is not, as you get past especially in like acts 2 and 3.
Yeah,
it's so boring.
Everything, like just building off what you're saying, like the performances, everything, how it's shot. You know, there's chase sequences, and there's just such a lack of energy.
Such a lack of energy.
And I don't know.
Stale.
I love the idea of the Mandalorian's costume is sick, but when you've got an actor like Pedro Pascal there, and the only bit I was intrigued in, I still think his performance was not very good for him. And it was like the only bit I was really intrigued was when this helmet was off for a bit. I'm like, I like it when he's got the armor on. I get it, it's part of the creed, but I'd also like to see. I'm finding it very hard to connect with it when everything around him. If the other characters around him maybe had a bit more energy, but they didn't. There was nothing to it. It just felt like no one cared. It was very disappointing.
It seems like a film where the actors were contractually obligated to be in it, as opposed to wanting to be in it. I said to you about Ludwig Göransson. I mean, his score is good. It's some parts don't work for the scenes, but in itself it is good. But you know, for him, it's probably the case of just getting a paycheck now to do the Mandalorian over and over and over again. And again, the performances, just touching on that from what you said, they're so stale. You know, and again, people talk about the sequels like they're the worst films in the world or the worst films in the series. This stuff we're getting now is a serious step down from that.
Yeah, because there's care in what's going on.
There's
in the
performances. People are putting in performances for the majority of those films. But this is a serious step down. The TV stuff we've got recently has been a serious step down. And this is like another step down. Just
disappointing.
Disappointing, but not really much that worked for me.
No, I'd agree.
Yeah,
I'd say as well. It's disappointing when we can see the quality of what Star Wars can be under Disney. You know, where we've just had Andor season 2, and that was of a quality so above this. Like it would have worked a million times better as a film, like compared to this.
Yeah.
Like if they went, oh, we're gonna squeeze out an Andor film instead of like how they squeezed out a Mandalorian season into a film like this, it would have been. We've already seen it. It was so much better than this, and it shows it's like we can still do the practical sets. We can still do these things. And they say, oh, the budgets of these things. I'm like, this is Star Wars. Like, if you make something good, everyone's gonna go see it. Like everyone's gonna go see it. Like people, even like we're saying, aren't the biggest fans of the sequel trilogy. There's still like so many people went to go see it, and people, if you watched the trailer and you believed it was going to be a big Star Wars film that you care about,
they felt like events.
They felt like events,
and they don't.
This felt like oh, it's just dropped on Disney Plus. Let's go see it. Type thing.
This is honestly, this should have been a straight to Disney Plus film. And the thing is as well, it's like we've been noticing that drop in production quality, and it isn't just about money. I mean, you know, Andor obviously was very expensive. And we're not saying everything has to be the same as Andor in terms of its story or its tone but that level of care putting into the writing, putting into the script, and putting into the production. It's everything. You could tell it was a vision from somebody, and that's because they let somebody come in and do their vision of what they wanted to do within that world. It wasn't Dave Filoni trying to put, you know, shoehorn Zeb into something and himself 4 times, you know, and then put Zeb in there, who again is just there, and he treats them as if everybody knows who he is. They don't. They don't.
I haven't seen all the Rebels. Yeah,
it doesn't work for me. And one of the key things as well, I wanted to ask you before we wrap this up. Now that we've seen it, now that you know what it is, where does it go on your ranking? We did a ranking video.
I think that's such a good question.
Did a ranking video before.
It's genuinely because. Maybe because I'm hot out the oven, I'm heated, I'm frustrated with how bored I was and how disappointed I was to go be back in the cinema to see Star Wars, and it was that. But I think it might be maybe the bottom 2.
It's definitely bottom 2.
Yeah.
I would, my feeling since I saw it is that it's the worst Star Wars film.
Do you know, I can get on board with it. I don't want to say it because
you don't want to jump into it, yeah.
But I'm like, I am seeing that because again, it's like what I spoke about last time with Solo, and why it was like down there for me was because I felt like it was like, what was the point of it?
And if we're comparing it to both of our bottom was the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So if we're comparing it to the Phantom Menace, it's like, well, what were the problems with the Phantom Menace? It was boring.
Yeah.
You know,
it was really poorly made. Yeah.
Really, there was no energy, nothing to it, and then. You know, but the difference is that it had a story. It had a character that it was trying to do something with.
And a start and
it
an
had
end.
Something
and
meaningful.
Things happened. Yeah.
And that even taking that lightsaber fight at the end, just that on its own, story-wise, it meant something. It had huge stakes, huge implications. There isn't any stakes
the
or
way
any
it was filmed as
implications in
well,
this
and you
film.
got all of that. You felt the energy behind it. You felt like the performances.
Yeah.
You know, even like you're saying, even through that fight, how much care and effort had gone into that, and it's like this didn't even have that. I don't think in any part of the film there was even like a slither of that care or effort or
and again, I said to you before, but just comparing scenes, it was like there's a Colosseum scene in this. The Colosseum scene in Attack of the Clones is way better than it is in this.
Yeah.
You know, and it really felt like, wow, like we're now at a point where not only is this film a bore, which to me the first two prequels especially are, but it's a bore, and there's not even an attempt at having characters, having functional characters. Yeah, to me, because of that, it has to be the worst Star Wars film. That, like, just that, saying that aloud, it's like, it's actually stunning that they've not done that. The script for this, at times, I remember sitting there thinking, this is like AI's written this script. It's genuinely like, there's just saying random things you need to know at the time to set something up.
Do you know, the really random one bit I'll quickly say is, one of the things I found really weird, it was a really niche like little prop thing. It was when like she's going like, the deck of cards thing. I'm like, this is Star Wars, right? They're pulling out some like these decks of cards. Yeah, there's
like they don't have holograms clinking.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, it could be something cool. It's like, I just feel like it's lost that sort of vision that, like, when you first saw those trailers, you're feeling like the Mandalorian is like, he's got like this gunslinger like thing, and I get it now with the child, but it's like, it just feels like it's lost that kind of. It can still have the character of the Mandalorian as this gunslinger with this child with him, but still have that direction of like a Western sort of feel to it. It's like now it just feels like so cut and paste.
It's
like,
cut and paste. It's that same modern look where the color seems to have been drained. Why we don't use color anymore?
Yeah,
and then
shot boring.
The shots are boring. The action sequences are stale for the most part. The dialogue is stale. It's all shot reverse shot. There's just
they're not doing anything when they're talking.
Nobody's doing anything when they're talking. Grogu is still just a baby doing funny baby things.
Yeah.
Mando didn't do anything to change. It's just a really poor film, I think.
Yeah, it's not good.
So yeah, overall, pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
Kind of lacked any sort of heart or soul. No real characters or character development in the whole thing. And overall, the one thing that you would expect if you're going to miss all of that, if it's not going to be about any of the big picture stuff, if it's not going to have any relevance to the wider story, you expect it to be fun. And for me, for the majority, apart from the first 20 minutes, it really wasn't. So it probably, in my eyes, like I said, definitely top two, either the second worst Star Wars film or the worst.
Yes, it is a shame to wait all that time, obviously not having a Star Wars film. And I think it rightly so, obviously, is a bit, not the best feedback with the sequel trilogy. And it was
too much too soon.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think they did the right thing. Sadly, obviously, there's been a lot of TV shows, and like we said earlier, it's kind of muddied the water a bit. But I just think for this being the return to cinema, it was really disappointing. And like we're saying, it didn't even feel like a film. It felt like a big episode, like we said, where this could have gone straight to Disney+. There's nothing that made it worthy in my eyes of being in a cinema that was any different from it being on the TV show, TV screen. So disappointing. I don't know what the future holds for it. We got is it Starfighter next with Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, there's the Sean Levy one. Although, again, I haven't. Obviously, Sean Levy directed the Deadpool films. I'm like, is the answer? I don't know if the answer to the problem Star Wars has right now is to get someone who's directed Marvel films in. Is it going to be just another Marvel film?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be a bit of a better film, a bit of something to it? Hopefully, Ryan Gosling can bring something to it
exactly.
as well.
Yeah, I think he's a big hope for that because obviously, again, he's such a high quality actor. We saw it with Adam Driver. Again, I think everyone universally agrees that he was probably he is the best character and the best acting throughout the sequel trilogy. So, if we can get something performances like that from Ryan Gosling, then at least they'll be with that because, like in this film, like we said, no one cared. No one cared. So.
There wasn't, to me, I guess the best way you can say it is it wasn't even like 4 important episodes of the Mandalorian TV show. It was 4 filler episodes.
Ones,
So yeah, really disappointing.
Yeah.
And out of 5, what would you give this? For Mando, 1.5.
Yeah,
It really is that bad for me.
Yeah, 1.5. I'd say it's a fair score for what it is, which is bad, which is a shame because love Star Wars. What a poor return to the cinemas. But hey, hope for Starfighter.
Hope for Starfighter, and we've got plenty of other films coming out.
Yes.
Backrooms is next Friday, I think. And then in June we've got Spielberg's film, Disclosure Day. We've got obviously The Odyssey coming up. There'll be Spider-Man in there. We'll have TV reviews for House of the Dragon.
Yes, I'm very excited for that. Very excited for that.
Plenty coming up, but today was not it.
No, well, look, we deserve some good stuff coming up because that was a bad one. That was a bad one.
That is unbelievable. That is a bad one.
And on that note,
see you next time.
Being part.